Thank you so much. What a beautiful morning, too, in Denver. You know, whenever you plan something this time of year, you never know what's going to happen. But thank you all for coming. Isn't it a great event? We should give these two a round of applause for pulling it together. When I first met them, I said, really? What do you want to do? And, you know, listen to their idea, and I just think it's fabulous. So we're all wishing you both success as we continue to move forward in this journey today as well as into the future. So the first thing I want to start out with this morning, and they touched on it earlier, is that balance is a myth. There is no such thing as balance. And you all would agree with me, right? Because right now you're sitting here saying, I'm not balanced, I feel horrible, I'm not even sure how I got here. Why am I here? Shouldn't be here, I should be doing something else, and we're going on and on and on. In our minds. But I want to share with you a story of a turning point in my life as well as my career when that light bulb went on for me. My son, two sons as was mentioned, and my oldest was in 3rd grade. At that time, I had just gotten a big promotion. It was US West and then Quest and now CenturyLink, and this was back when I became a vice president. And I thought, oh, I finally made it. Got through college, got through that yucky director stage, and now I'm a vice president, and I'm just so great, and life's going to be wonderful, and my kids seem happy, and I'm still married to the same guy, and I made it, you know. We've all been in that spot. We're like, yes, I'm here. This is where I wanted to be. And all of a sudden, things started not going so well. The first thing was my boys started complaining a lot. And the big complaint was, Mom, you don't come to the school, you're not at the preschool event, you're not a chaperone at the tour that we're having, you didn't even send cupcakes when we had the Halloween party, and it just went on and on. So I said to my oldest, Jack, at that time was in 3rd grade, I said, well, what would you like me to do? And he said, how about lunch? I'm like, yes, I know how to do lunch. I know how to put that on my calendar. I do lunch every day. I know power lunches. I'm in it. And so I put an hour on my calendar. Because I was working downtown Denver and his school was in Golden. So an hour I thought was great, drive, have lunch, and everything will be wonderful. So of course you dash out of the office like a crazy person, you almost get in an accident, you keep driving. I get to the school, I realize I don't really even know how to get into the school. Are you supposed to sign in or not sign in? So I blow past the administration office, someone's chasing me, miss, you have to stop and sign in. I'm like, no, I'm here for lunch. So I go in and I find Jack in the line, he's over there and he's waving, and so I, on my high heels, run over there and get in line with him, and he points out the food that I should take, the food that I should avoid, what's good, what's not, go through this whole process, holding the tray, sitting at a little tiny table, little tiny chairs that I'm hoping my hips are gonna fit in, you're kind of like squeezing in, and I sit down and barely am moving around these chicken nuggets, taking out the plastic fork. And all of a sudden I look in the cafeteria and all the hands are going up and their fingers are wiggling and everybody's trying to get the attention, of the teacher, and she's nodding to all of them. They're all popping up like little popcorns, popping up and running out, including my own son. I glance at his tray and it's completely empty and he's dashing off. I said, Jack, where are you going? And he's like, recess. I'm like, recess? Oh my gosh, 7 minutes. Went by. Exactly 7 minutes. I glanced down at my watch. 7 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe this. I dashed all the way over here. I moved all my meetings. I scheduled. I did all this stuff. And he's gone. And he's, waving. And off he goes. So I'm sitting in this little chair. And all the kids are gone. And I'm sitting there. And lo and behold, the tears, start coming down. Big tears. The big, sloppy tears. And the principal, who was a man, was over there, and he comes over to me, and he gives me this little pat, kind of like this, like, it's okay. Now I feel really crappy. He's like patronizing me on top of that. And I'm like, I go, you don't understand. I'm a vice president. I drove all the way over here, all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, we see this all the time, and you'll be okay if you'd like to sit here for a few minutes. And now he's talking like I'm like their doctor's office, So I said, no, I'll be good. And so I get up and drive back to the office, tears the whole way. Now my makeup's running. You've all been in that situation. Like, oh God, my eyes are starting to swell up. Go into my office, and horrible afternoon. Every emotion I can imagine. Disappointment, frustration, anger. I'm just like, this really stinks. This is not where I want to be. I don't feel like I'm doing good at work. I don't feel like I'm a good mom. I drive all the way to do what Jack wants, and it's 7 minutes, and I'm sure he's not happy, and the day just snowballed down from that point on. But then something interesting happened when I went home that night. I go into the house, and Jack runs over to me, and he says, Mom, thank you, that was so fun. And I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, it's great, and my friends were talking about you, and oh, it's so fun. It dawned on me that he was perfectly happy with that 7 minutes. Perfectly happy. That's all he wanted. I was the one who created all the anxiety and all the expectations and all this emotion. I created it myself. I created a crummy day on my own. He was just fine. And I thought, how is it that my little third grader can be present in the moment, can enjoy 7 minutes, and be perfectly fine with it, and I can't? And that was the day, in my mind, that I shattered the balance myth. And I said, enough already. This is not going to work. I've worked really hard to get to this job. I was one of the first kids in my family to go to college and make it through college. I really wanted this vice president role that I got. I'm like, I'm not ready to give this up. I did not want to believe the hype that you can't have it all. Now, I think having it all is up to what that means to you, but I refuse to believe that I couldn't have a successful career and a successful home life, whatever that was for me. So that's when I started saying, okay, this has got to change. So the first thing I started thinking about was, well, what is most important to me? And just like you, I'm sure it's your family, right? You're always going to come back to your family, whatever that is for you, by the way. For some of you, it might be husbands and kids. For some of you, it might be taking care of a family. It might be part of your church. It might be whatever it is for you. I'm using the word family, in the big, big term. But the first thing is to think about, don't take the career woman out of the mother or the mother out of the career woman. You got to where you are for a reason. You got through school, you got through the sports, you got married, you did all these things because you are who you are. So don't change that. Take the best of who you are and put it together and integrate it. I grew up in the corporate life where you kept life separate. You acted one way at work and you dressed a certain way. When I was coming through it, you dressed like a guy, so you had a lot of suits that were all kind of the same color. We even had those silly little stupid bow tie things. Now I'm really dating myself. I'm sure you all thought I was much younger, but the bow ties and the little scarf thing that went with it. But you kept your corporate life this way and you talked home separately. I never even talked about my kids or anything when I was first there. Because no one asked, no one cared, it wasn't part of it. So I kept my lives very, very separate. And I found myself feeling tugged, and hence that balance issue. So I found myself feeling like, oh, I should be here, I should be there, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And I felt like two people. And once I put it together and said, I am just who I am. I'm doing the best that I can in both of these places, things started moving a little better. So as an example, at work, I tried an experiment. I'm like, we'll see what happens when I bring up these kids. See what kind of reaction I get. Well, what do you think happened? They have kids too, right? Everybody else has kids. So we all started talking about our kids, and we're all, in it together. At home, I started bringing my work home. When I'd hit that level, I was working on a lot of marketing campaigns, and at that time it was TV ads and things like that. So I brought the storyboards, for those of you in marketing, the storyboards that we used to use back then to create commercials, home and showed them to my kids. They thought they were cartoons, they thought they were funny, and when they saw the advertising on TV, they'd say, Mom, your cartoons are on, come and watch. But they knew what I was doing, right? So they knew, why was I up all night working on this? Why did I have to travel to Los Angeles or New York to do something? Why was I so interested? So once I pulled them, including my husband, into my work, and at work I pulled them into my family, the two started meshing together. And it wasn't so bad, and I still got promoted even though everybody knew I had kids and things were still happening, in that way. But it was really a lesson for me to kind of bring my life together. And then pretty soon you start talking about, I also like to work out, and I also like to bike ride, and I also like to do these things. And before you know it, you actually are just one person. Because balance implies that there's two things that have to be equal, right? That you're trying to go like this. If you put it together, you're not. Right? It's one life, it's you're integrated all the way through. Now, when I say this, you're probably like, that sounds easy, but it's really not. Because what is our number one issue? Time management. We can't fit enough into the day. We don't know how to do it. We don't know how to get all that stuff in there. How do you pick? How do you prioritize? How do you not feel bad because you picked this and you should be there. You know, if I looked at every one of your calendars right now, I bet you have 3 things on at the same time, at least 1 hour. And you're going to say, I should have gone to this, I should have gone to that. My dilemma all the time was, should I go to this, you know, corporate event with a big customer, or should I be home for one of the kids? Now, I didn't always choose wisely, but when I did choose, I gave it 100%. I said, you know what, I chose this one thing. I'm not going to negotiate with myself and say, I should have, I could have, I should be over here, but gave it all right there. Now, later I might have thought, well, that was a bad choice. I should have gone over to this thing. But it was in that moment, you know, so being present in that moment. And one of the biggest problems that we all have is delegation and getting rid of things on our calendar. So I'm going to ask you all to pull out your electronic device right now, whatever that may be. You all have one, your phone, your iPad, whatever it might be. Still keep it on vibrate, and I'm going to do it too because I have the same problem. So go ahead and pull up your email, all of you. If you don't have something with you because you left it in your car, go ahead and look at your neighbors. You can help her get through this process. All right, so our biggest issue, I think, as women who are trying to prioritize and be in all these places is we don't know when to stop and when to say no. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is scroll down your email and pick one and say no. Answer it and say, someone's asking you for something, right? I know I have 3 right here. Ask for something and just politely write back, appreciate it, but no. Just no. However you want to say it. I'm a little more abrupt, but however you want to say it. But pick one and do it and send it. We have plenty of coverage in here, so go ahead and send it. And don't pretend. Okay, the next one. So now you said no. The next one, I want you to forward to somebody else to take care of. Okay, just forward it. Someone else can take care of it. You do not have to touch every single thing. You don't have to be involved in every single thing. So pick one and forward it to someone else and say, would you mind taking care of this for me? Could you do this? I can't do it. Some of you are really having pain, I can tell. Like, oh, I can't do this. So forward one and hit the send button. Don't pretend. See, that wasn't so painful. Okay, now this one's going to be hard. This next one's going to be really hard. We're going to delete something. And we're going to just delete it. You weren't going to take care of it anyway. You weren't going to read it anyway. It's going to keep nagging at you because, you know, those ones that fall down the bottom. Do any of you resend them back up to yourself to move them to the top? I do that. When it gets buried and someone asks me about it, I'm like, I can't find it now. It's 400 down. So I'll, you know, search it and then move it back to the top, send it to myself again. So delete one. You weren't going to do anything with it anyway. The world will not stop revolving. Everything is going to be fine if you just hit the delete button. This one I'm enjoying actually deleting because I didn't want to take care of this anyway. It's usually something you want to read or maybe follow up on or you want to learn more about. And we all have that desire to keep learning, but it's okay because it's going to not bug you so much. So we did 3 things, right? We said no. We forwarded it. Let someone else take care of it. And we just deleted it. We made our list shorter, right? Because you know what's really powerful to have a short list? Because you cross things off, right? And then you create another short list and another short list. If you have a really long list, it never really moves. But if you create little short ones, you actually can toss them. You can hit the delete button on your computer. You can shred them, whatever your deal is. All of this comes into a main message I want to give you, which is one calendar and one life. And I use that as a metaphor of how to bring your life together. And for me, it was physically moving it to one calendar. I used to have a lot of things around my waist because I worked in telecommunications, so we carry a lot of gadgets. We carry a couple phones, a couple pagers, a couple Blackberries, because we all have these different things. And I had literally different calendars. And lo and behold, I was missing things. I missed things at work, I missed things at the office, I missed personal birthdays, I missed my mom's thing, whatever it was not coming together. In my mind, that was my way of compartmentalizing my life. When I put them together, it brought it all together for me. It was a metaphor for me, but it was a way for me to bring that life together. Now, at first, it's quite shocking, because when you put everything together, you realize, wow, I am way overbooked, and there's way too much on here. And even the color coding that goes on now, you know, like, I don't know, whatever service you use, but you can color all the different things. But again, it's in one place, and now you can make conscious choices. You can say, I know there's a bunch going on, but I'm going to decide which thing I want to be to. It also gives you a chance to look back at your month, the last 2 months, and go, this is not how I want to spend my life. So you can actually look back and say, I spent way too much time on this, not enough time on something that does matter to me. And it's a way for you to pull it all together into one place. So try it out. I know it sounds silly. It's a calendar, but it is a way of bringing your life together and actually bringing you together as a person and being true to yourself, setting your own expectations, and then not renegotiating, not saying, I should have done something else. Don't say that to yourself anymore. Say, I did what I did, and I made the best decision in that moment, and I'm moving forward. So that brings me to a last point I want to make about time management. So like I said, it's going to be a little shocking when you put your calendar together because it's got way too much on it. So I want to ask you to set time limits on something. So when you have an item on your calendar, give it a set amount of time and follow it, which is really hard. As an example, if you are working on a presentation at work, give yourself an hour and stop and walk away. Because I will guarantee you that last 30 minutes you were spent on it, you're wasting your time. You're tweaking it, you're changing the colors, you're changing the font. You think you've got a brand new idea that's coming up, but not really. Your best thoughts came out, right in that first hour. So stop and walk away. Now, if you really do need more time, schedule it later. But stop in whatever you're doing. Same thing applies at home. If you're wrapping Christmas presents, which is what I hate doing, if you are cleaning the toilet, whatever you are doing, give yourself, I'm going to clean the house for 1 hour. I'm going to work in the garden for 1 hour. That's it. And literally watch yourself. I'm a watch freak. I use them kind of as bracelets. But whatever your thing is, it keeps your time. But be aware of time. Stop and walk away. I think you'll be amazed at how much more you get done because you were just wasting energy, like retooling and refining and things that really, really didn't matter. So I'd give you that little piece of advice. It sounds crazy. At first you'd be like, that doesn't sound very complicated, but try it. And you'll see that you have to kind of actually retrain yourself on how to do that. My whole message this morning is really about integrating, about bringing your life together, about being true to yourself, and about asking yourself what's important to you. And that's probably the biggest mistake that we as women make, whether we're working or not working, or moms or not moms, whatever we're doing, is that we're always serving someone else. We always put other people forward, which is a fabulous trait of females, but we can't give our best to someone else if we don't know who we are first. So try to be one person, pull yourself together. My wish for all of you is that if you have 7 minutes, like I had with my son, that you'll enjoy it. That was so important to me. I have to tell you, he's 20 right now, and I asked him about that particular event, as well as I asked him about an event that I missed. He has no idea. I was just killing myself because I missed a play that he was in. He's like, I don't even know what play that was. I don't know why you're talking about this, Mom. He's like totally past it. But what he does remember, that he is very proud of me as a working mom. He does remember the events that I was at, and I was looking him in the eye, and he knows I was there. I was not kind of watching soccer and kind of doing something else. What is soccer? 1 game? 1 hour? The world will not stop without us in it. My company did not stop because I wasn't there for 1 hour. So focus on what you're in, stay in it, and really, most importantly, be true to yourself. And if you're not sure who yourself is, take that time, which I think today there's a lot of great people that can talk to you about that, about exploring who that is. And it changes. You're not always the same. Some years you're just working like a crazy person. The next couple of years you can dial it back a little bit, and the kids ebb and flow with you, and as well as your husband. So I want to thank you for the time this morning. 2 things I want to share with you. I did write a book. It's right here called The Balance Myth. I used that as I started up. You can now get it on Amazon. Came out about a year ago. Hopefully you all have a chance to pick it up, buy it for a friend, or share it with someone else. And if you want to get in touch with me, I think they have it up there. Yeah, I think I'm Teresa Taylor. It's very simple, teresataylor.org. Would love to talk to you more about anything that's on your mind. I'm also doing a lot of public speaking in companies and corporations throughout the United States right now. So enjoy the day, and thank you for the time this morning. Appreciate it.